Today, we've got a lineup that shows just how wild things have gotten out there. Maryland Democrats are losing it over a representative celebrating wives and mothers during Women's History Month. Cynthia Erivo says her multimillionaire life is hard because we won't affirm her pronouns. The View is rewriting history again, claiming America was built only by slaves. And White House insiders are quietly panicking about Trump's upcoming Liberation Day announcement on tariffs. That's April 2nd, folks. And it could be a game changer. Plus, we're talking etiquette tonight. Has common courtesy gone extinct, or can we bring back some old school class? Hit that like, subscribe, and share button. Let's jump into it next.
Be leaders ourselves.
Black women are being used by the Democrat Party.
All of these socioeconomic indicators are in the negative, particularly for Black people.
They want mob rule. When Trump was in office, please somebody tell me what act of dictatorship did he perform?
She had Donald Trump's hair on top of her head. And she's sitting here talking about brown girl this, brown girl that.
Because she's a Black woman.
They would ask her how to spell her first name and clap like sea monkeys.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
What's up, everybody? It's Monday. This is our Monday Night Live, and it's time for Pop and Politics. I'm KJ. Let me introduce you to my co-host. Of course, because of it's Monday, we have Tyrone Keys from right here on YouTube, Soldiers of Finance, Nicole Bennett, and Shelly E.
Hi.
All right. Before we dive in, again, as I asked in the before the segment, do me a favor, tap that thumbs up and subscribe. We're on YouTube and Rumble. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. We love our chat. We already have a super chat from Kung Fu CJ. Thank you so much for your $5 super chat. Says, hello, ladies and Tyrone and the whole Pop and Politics family. Hello to you too, Kung Fu CJ.
Hey, Kung Fu.
Yes. And folks, as you guys know, this is the best way to get your voice heard in the conversation and to show your love and support for conservative content. This is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Stand with us and subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, everybody, let's set it off. How are you all doing tonight?
Doing good.
Super.
I'm a little pissed right now, but okay.
Ooh, okay.
Spicy, Shelly, right off the top. Right off the top. Let's go, Shelly.
Yes, let's go. All right, so we're going to get right into it. Talking about right off the top, as I mentioned earlier, folks, the left claims to celebrate all women unless you're a dutiful wife or mother. Then apparently it's a problem. So a Maryland House of Delegates member gave a shout out to wives and moms during Women's History Month. This happened this morning, and this is actually the last day of Women's History Month. So again, if you guys celebrate women, this is generally an all-female cast. Hit that like button and subscribe there. And again, your super chats go a long way to helping us produce this content. But back to Latoya Nkongolo, that's the delegate. Latoya Nkongolo made this statement on the House floor today and got tons of pushback. Take a look. This is clip 5.
Madam Speaker.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As we conclude Women's History Month, I want to recognize the dutiful and submissive wives of this body. So when I say that because we know that we're here, we're fighting for our constituents, but we know that charity starts at home. And first and foremost, we are wives to our husbands and we are mothers to our children. So I want to acknowledge the wives that are taking care of the homes of the men in this body. the men that are here fighting for their constituents, but the women that are taking care of their children, making sure that their homework is done, making sure that they're getting back and forth to practices. Honor those women, and thank you, men, for the work that you do. Being a dutiful wife and a mother is the biggest commitment any woman can make. So what I want to say to the men in this body is be sure to buy your wife flowers and thank them for the hard work that they're doing to take care of your homes. And for the women here, I want you to go home and cook your husband a nice meal, and like the good delegate said last week, make sure that man gets the big piece of chicken. Thank you very much.
Look at you. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So folks, all right. So I gotta go to you, Shelly, first. Well, before we do that, she got tons of pushback about this post. I mean, liberals and leftists here in Maryland and probably outside of Maryland went crazy. She got comments like WTF, wow, oh my God, that is so offensive. This sounds like brain damage. What else did she get? I mean, the list goes on. She got, here it is. She also, this appears to have been this description of a Stepford wife. I know you're proud of this and you have no sense of shame, but I suspect the sentiment is not shared not only by the majority of this community, but most of your constituents. Had you clearly stated that this took place today, I would have thought this was a floor speech from sometime in 1960s. Unbelievable. I mean, it goes on. So, Shelly, what's your response to that? Are those comments justified?
I say F the bitches. Okay, just F them. They're silly. They're cuckoo. This is honoring women, wives, moms, whether you stay at home. Notice she was a working woman, and she mentioned the other working women in the chamber, in the Maryland Maryland chamber, in Annapolis. But these women, whoever, or these commenters, I should say, are cuckoo. They can't even just take a moment to honor women. Not only that, she was being funny, and she was being, it was a cute little comment at the end, give them a big piece of chicken. I mean, most people, when you're serving guys or men at your table, most women tend to want to make sure the guys do have a big piece of chicken and meat. You know why? Because most of the time, I mean, maybe we got a lot of metrosexuals today, but it used to be that men had more muscle, and, they were leaner than the women. They ate a little bit more. They needed more protein, and women love to feed men. I mean, what the hell? So these commenters are cuckoo. But I do want to take a moment, if I may, that I was totally remiss in doing last week, is paying homage to Mia Love.
Yes.
The congresswoman, the first Black Republican congresswoman, as she's known, she passed away last week at the young age of 49. It was so sad. Again, I apologize. I do send my condolences to her family. I was totally remiss in mentioning that last week, but rest in peace, Mia Love.
Absolutely. Rest in peace. So Nicole, what are your thoughts here? People were saying that she was on Women's History Month. She was actually celebrating the patriarchy. What are your response to that?
Listen, she made no mention of the patriarchy other than giving them a big piece of chicken. And dare I say, if these women went home and made some chicken and gave their husbands a big piece, they too would be loving being a submissive and dutiful wife, right? Here's the problem that we have with Maryland Democrats. They all think that all women think alike, like they think all Black people think alike. They think we're a monolith, that we're flat. We are not. Women's History Month celebrates all types of women, working women, stay-at-home moms. You guys remember back maybe 10, 12, 15 years ago when there was this divide between women who work and women who don't, and they were kind of at each other's throats. We've overcome that. What I don't like to see, though, and color me kind of skeptical, but with this state as broke as we are, as upside down as we are, with the federal government pulling back all of the COVID money that Maryland didn't spend but planned on spending later, this is the least of your concerns. Whether or not your man gets a big piece of chicken is the least of our concerns. If you're not going to focus in, then shut the hell up. Simple enough. She was nice. She was kind. She made a funny little comment at the end. It was just a very small thing. And it seems to me that everything that this particular delegate does, maybe because she's a Black Republican woman, is under a microscope. And kudos to her for calling them out on their hypocrisy.
Yeah, absolutely. Tyrone, you as the lonely man on this panel. What are your thoughts on that exchange? Or what she said?
Well, you can't take any criticisms from the Democrats seriously. This is a party that doesn't even know what a woman is. So that invalidates their opinion as far as anything concerning women in my book. And you got Democrat women supporting men in women's spaces, and then you got Democrat men who, let's just say, they need to slow down on the soy intake. When we think about second wave feminism, which really got going strong in the 60s, listen, people can disagree with me, but I've always thought that it was mostly about getting women out of their important role to society, which was there in the home raising the children while the man went out and worked for a living. I always looked at second wave feminism as a way to get another W-2 employee out there paying into the U.S. Treasury in the form of W-2 taxes. Because if we're honest, the roles of men and women were co-equal, but somewhere along the line, Gloria Steinem and others convinced women that they did not have an extremely important role in society. And I think if you can look at second wave feminism, and you can look at every metric regarding the family since then, and you can see the havoc that it has wrought. But, the IRS is getting more tax receipts, which is what they wanted out of it anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have a super chatter here. I want to acknowledge our super chatter. Thank you so much. Teresa Raimundo says, hello to everyone. I have been watching, but I'm always behind. So I want to say thank you for all the truth and strength you share. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you so much.
I have a question for Tyrone.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I had my question to you, Nicole, was, are Democrats trying to, I should say, is this proof that they hate traditional femininity? Are they trying to erase every woman can claim to celebrate?
Of course. So for them, progress for progress' sake is important, right? But many of these women, if truth is going to be told, many of these women left Annapolis, went home, and cooked doggone dinner. So all of this bluster for nothing. This is the point that I think where LaToya showed just how savvy of a politician she is, right? Just how savvy she is. On a day where we've discovered that, the federal government is going to take better than maybe half of what Maryland has, quote unquote, in the hole for COVID funds, that the Department of Education is raking back all of their money. On that day, she took a moment to give some levity to this chamber that should be so concerned about us being broke and no way to get out of the hole, that they missed that she trolled them. She trolled them like her name was Donald John Trump. I am so proud of her. I could not be more proud. Yeah. Talk about knocking somebody off their path. She took the wind out of their sails. The quote unquote big win that they had with the budget has been replaced with big chicken. Way to go, LaToya.
Tyrone, I have a question for you. All right. As the guy, tell me, which part of the chicken do guys like, the breast or the thigh?
I prefer breast.
In a wing.
I prefer breast myself.
Of course you do, Tyrone. Of course.
And here we go again. Every week we get.
It was hurting you, Tyrone. You were even embarrassed to say, I enjoy breast. It was awkward, right?
I mean, it's just chicken.
Right. Yeah. We have another super chatter here. Tijuana Border Jumper with a $5 super chat.
Tijuana.
Yes, says, hi, beautiful people. Hello. All right. Yeah. So again, I mean, this is they continue to push show us how they just hate anything traditional. They hate anything traditional, including traditional femininity, traditional families. They despise it all and they want to see it all destroyed. So, how can we bring honor back to motherhood and marriage in our culture, specifically the Black culture, Shelley?
I think I'll say one way. One way we can bring it back is, number one, is to honor mothers, or at least teach our young people that a career, if you will, in motherhood is a beautiful thing. It's well worth the doing. It's hard work. It's ups and downs, but it is a good, honorable profession, if you want to call it that. That's fine, a calling. I think we need to teach that to the next generation or the current generation, but we also must not be afraid. We must not be afraid to just say, hey, mothers are women, women are women have babies, women have vaginas. Again, this whole, to Tyrone's point, this what is a woman thing, we need to not be afraid to say we are women, and that's what we were born as, and that's how God created us, and this is what a woman is, does, looks, whatever the case may be. We need not be afraid to do that.
Absolutely. And we do have another super chatter here. Thank you so much. Rico Wright with the $2 super chat says the hyena are mad as hell. All right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me see here. So yeah, I totally agree with everything that has been said. I think the people who really miss out on this are the children. Because there's no more of this showing that motherhood. What if you have a young girl or a teenager or a young adult who that's what she wants to do? She wants to be a mother. That's what she thinks is going to make her whole. That's what she wants to do when she gets out of school, whatever. She wants to be a mother. And society kind of looks down on that now. And again, I know education is important, and making sure you have the tools and skills needed to survive in this world. But there are still women who say, you know what, I want to get married and I want to have children and I want to be there for my household and taking care of them full time. And is that looked down upon now, do you think, Nicole?
I think in certain circles, I was having a conversation with someone about this just this afternoon. In certain circles, it's looked down upon because motherhood has been tempered with singleness in some instances, right? So when you say, oh, I want to be a mom, people assume that you mean you intend to be a single mother, not attached, not married, not protected, not provided for in the social kind of sense, right? But the truth of the matter is a woman having a family is the highest honor you can have. You do more for our society by raising smart, articulate, patriotic children than working outside the home could ever do. Absolutely. I think there's something to be said for the way that we raise our daughters so that we don't see ourselves in competition with one another for motherhood, for men, for jobs, for any of that, right? For that big piece of chicken, Tyrone, even if it is the breast, right? We don't want to be in competition. There's enough glory for everyone. And I think that has a lot to do with, again, the way that we raise our daughters and our sons to appreciate women who don't necessarily want to get in the rat race, because truth be told, even women in the rat race want a partner. They want someone to come home to, someone to take care of them when they're sick, someone that's going to help them in the long run.
All right. Well, again, this is the last final day of Women's History Month. And so I thought this was a great way to bring that home. And I want to, ask this of the chat. Do you feel like motherhood is being undervalued in today's society? Please, I see you guys sound off on that. I'd love to hear your comments. And if you're tired of seeing motherhood and womanhood under attack, do me a favor, like this video, hit that subscribe button, and share it with someone who still believes being a wife and a mom is something to be proud of. All right. And don't forget our merch, folks. If you want to wear your values, check out our merch. We've got gear that honors faith, family, and femininity because being traditional is not a problem, it's a legacy. So grab your merch. We have the website here. You can get it at www.popandpoliticslive.com and click the shop button. All right.
AJ, before we move on, can I ask them to do one more thing?
Sure.
If you guys are on Facebook, look up Latoya Congolo, right?
Mhm.
It's Nkongolo. Look up Latoya and drop her some love, right? She's a very new delegate. She was recently appointed. She's fighting a good fight. And much like Matt Morgan and all the other Republicans in Maryland's House of Delegates, they're up against the wall. They are really up against the wall. So when I tell you this was brave for her, someone who's not been elected to this seat, but appointed to this seat, she's going to have to run for this seat very soon. She stepped out on a ledge with not only her constituents in Maryland's greater community. This is a big deal for her personally. She's a terrific person. She is very helpful in our community. She's helped tremendously around the state, but this was difficult for her. So if we could go on and show her a little bit of love, it would go a long, long way.
Absolutely. And we had another comment here. Let me see here. It's the one you mentioned, Shelley.
Alyssa Spanish Fork.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Shame on all the women who wait until after 30 to start having children. I don't know if I would agree with that, to say shame on all of them who wait until after 30. I think many women, or it used to be about 27, 28 when they get married for the most part. I'm just saying, generally speaking. So they probably would not start to have children until maybe early 30s. Typically, the ones who are younger who have children are generally or historically have been unmarried. So in some segment of our society, if you will. So I wouldn't necessarily say shame on them for waiting until after 30, particularly, if they're married, they want to be, like Nicole said, they want to be attached, married, provided for. I don't know if I would shame them for that. I mean, I think that's a little.
I think she means if it's intentional. We do have a situation here in society where a lot of women are foregoing marriage and motherhood, and they are waiting for a very long time, after in the late 30s to have children. And it is a problem. It is. I mean, again, I'm not saying if you having, issues with having kids and things like that, I get it. That's fine. But the idea of some women, or the idea that is being pushed on society right now, where wait until you are very well established, after 30, have your kids. Many women are finding out it's too late. It's too late to even look for a mate, to look for a husband. And then two, it's later to have children. It is way too late.
Yeah, I don't know if I would shame them. I'm going to stick to that. To your point, then I think we were all saying this to some degree. It's a cultural teaching and training that needs to happen well before 30.
Absolutely. That's what. Yeah. That's what we have to make it okay to get married and have kids younger age. 30 is way too late. It is. It's way too late. Now, again, can you have babies at 30, or can you get married at 30? Of course, but a lot of physical things change at that time, and it is much more difficult, especially if you're going to have more than one.
I agree. I still disagree to a point. 30 is not way too late. I think that's pushing it way, whatever. There's no quote unquote magic number.
It is. It is a magic number based on your
23 or 24. 23 or 24 is a magic number. Date. 30 is not way too late.
There is an expiration date.
Yes,
when you can have,
and it's usually after 35, 38, give or take, when that starts.
No.
But 30
I'm talking about there comes a time when you
30 is not way too late. 30 is not way too late.
It is too late to start.
No, it's not. No, it is not. No, it's not.
Can I jump in here and just say, have your children early so you can get them out the house and have the house yourself. This is the whole thing. This is the thing. Get married young while you're still young and foxy, and he's young and hot.
That's
make
what
a bunch of babies and have them stair stack so you can get them all out all at one time, and then you too could build a studio in your daughter's
I'm just saying,
bedroom.
I think we find so many things to shame people for that we kind of
I
make
don't
up
want to
stuff.
shame. Yeah, no, I'm not shaming, but I think we need to stop telling women this stuff.
I would agree.
And
with
this
that.
is why we need to stop telling them, wait to find your partner, wait to have a baby. Get married early if you can. Get married at a younger age, definitely not at 30. Definitely not at 30. You need to get married.
I don't know, but if that's when the opportunity presents itself, why wouldn't they get married at 30?
Well, again, yes, if the opportunity presents it, yes, but I'm talking about as a goal. Be intentional about this.
Okay.
If you are intentional about waiting, that's a problem. I don't think we should tell our young people to be intentional about waiting to get married and be intentional. First of all, and I know y'all are not going to like this, but if you're talking about Christianity and the biblical thing, if you're trying to wait until marriage, it is very hard to wait until 30 years old to start a family, get married and start a family.
No,
and
it's not. What do you mean if you're trying to wait? You said the biblical thing, if you wait until, what do you mean? Because the Bible says to wait until married.
Exactly. But it doesn't say, that's why you're encouraged to do it early.
Yes, you are encouraged to, but
You're not encouraged to wait until 30 to get married.
But encouraged. So what are people supposed to do?
For abstinence.
What are people supposed to do when they're not married? What are they supposed to do while they're not married? What are they supposed to do?
Of course, wait. I think we're miscommunicating. I am not saying that things don't happen. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is right now we are in society where they are encouraging women to wait. I think that's a bad idea. I think we should start encouraging women to find a mate, to marry early, and then start your family early. That's all I'm saying. Of course, people do it the opposite way, but what I'm saying is the encouraged part we shouldn't encourage them to wait, and that's what I'm seeing. We're encouraging them to wait now, and we're seeing that that's affecting our community poorly, in my opinion.
Okay.
We got some.
All right, guys. So we got to get going on this. All right. We do have a super chat. I want to acknowledge our super chatters here. Thank you so much. All right. We have, let's see here, John Lemons with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. We certainly appreciate you. Rico Wright with the $2 super chat says, Tyrone, I thought you were going to say chicken feet.
That was my next, that's number 2.
All right. Too White for Coke with the $10 super chat says 100. I'm a mama, not a birthing person. I breastfed, not chest fed my kids. Love y'all. All right. Thank you so much. So we got to get to our next segment. All right. So we've been talking a lot here about parenthood and marriage and things like that. Well, when did basic manners become controversial? Now, you guys know we talk about a lot of controversial stuff here. But when did that become controversial? And what does it say about where we're headed as society? Today, we're diving into why etiquette is on life support and why it matters more than ever. Take a look at this clip. This is clip 4.
No more hair bonnets in public. If you slept in it, it doesn't belong outside. I am so passionate about this. Listen, when you wear that hair bonnet outdoors, in public, in the stores, it is simply saying that you don't care. We communicate non-verbally all day. And that hair bonnet that you're wearing in public, it's communicating that you don't care. It is also communicating that you are not ready for those amazing opportunities out there waiting for you. So this is what we do. Once you're ready to leave your home, you remove that hair bonnet. Take the time to prepare your hair. Take the time to show that you have pride in yourself, that you respect yourself, and you respect others who you will encounter. Whether you're traveling, whether you're picking your children up from school, wherever you're going, keep in mind that we are communicating something, and that nonverbal communication, wearing a hair bonnet in public, most likely will not be favorable to you. Ladies, leave those hair bonnets in the house.
All right. So, folks, I'm really excited about tonight's guest, Jackie Vernon Thompson. She's a certified etiquette expert, best-selling author and founder of From the Inside Out School of Etiquette. She's been teaching kids and adults how to carry themselves with confidence, communicate well, and bring back some of that old school class we've lost in today's culture. Welcome to Poppin' Politics, Jackie. All right. How are you today? Oh,
You're
we
muted.
can't hear you.
You're muted.
Oh, is she muted? Oh, let me see. Oh, no, we can't hear you. Let's get the producers to assist. Let me see here. Okay, let me see. We're going to figure it out what's going on. 1 second. All right, let me see here. All right, we're going to get her back up on here. We got to figure out what's going on with her audio. But let's talk about the video we just saw there. So let me see here. Okay, Shelly, what did you think of that? I know you're
a woman after my own heart, or I may be after hers, because this has been one of my pet peeves for I don't know how long. I've been wanting to actually do a segment on this. Bonnets and pajamas belong in the house. I can't stand to go outside and see mostly women with these bonnets on, pajamas, slippers. I can't stand Uggs. I hate Uggs. I don't care what form they're in. I hate Uggs. Uggs and Crocs. We need to just have a bonfire and burn them along with the bonnets. That's what I think.
All right, Nicole, your thoughts on the bonnets?
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the bonnet, and I'm definitely not a fan of the Crocs or the Uggs or the pajama bottoms. Quite literally, I have, you guys know Julie Giordano, the county executive in Wacomico. She went from school teacher to county executive. So a lot of the students came to her inaugural, to the swearing in, and they had on pajamas. I was like, would you just roll out of bed? And they know we wear this all the time. Highly inappropriate. If no one's ever told you it's inappropriate to wear your pajamas in public, it is, unless you're going to a pajama party. That would be the only exception. But short of that, you should be prepared for whatever happens, because you never know who you might meet. Maybe you're on an elevator with Elon one day.
Oh, wow.
Shoot your pitch, right?
Yep. What are your thoughts on this, Tyrone? The bonnets.
Well, yeah, I definitely agree with the ladies on that. I walked into a Dunkin' Donuts last week. A lady was sitting there in pajamas, and we made eye contact, and she looked at me like, what? But I will bring up I'll use this opportunity to bring up one of my pet peeves, and some may be offended. Men who wear open-toed sandals. It has never been that hot in North America. Okay, if you're in the Middle East or Africa, I get it. But open-toed sandals, because here's the thing. Men need to run sometimes, to the rescue or away from something. Okay. What are you going to do if you need to pull somebody out of a burning vehicle, right? What are you going to do if you cannot operate successfully in this society with open-toed sandals. And I'm willing to take the criticism, but nothing will change my mind.
And so you mean like flip-flops too? Like beach?
Oh, yeah, that too. I mean, even my bedroom slippers are closed-toed. Okay. So that's just me.
Okay, well, we do have Jackie. She's joined us. How are you tonight?
Testing. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yay! I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me. How are you all doing?
Doing well. Great.
Very well,
I'm so excited.
Yeah, so are we. So I want to get started. I'll start off with you, Shelly. What's your first question?
Okay, Miss Jackie, I have been dying to ask you this question. Are women supposed to always wear earrings?
Oh, no. The funny thing is, I don't wear jewelry.
Okay.
Have you noticed in my videos?
Yes, I noticed that you didn't.
Yeah, I don't wear jewelry, partially for religious purposes. I'm a Seventh-day Adventist, and I just don't feel like I want to adorn myself that way. I don't know anyone who does. It's a personal choice, but I don't wear jewelry. So many people don't even notice that I'm not wearing jewelry because of my confidence. It overpowers the jewelry thing. So no, definitely a lady doesn't have to wear jewelry or earrings or anything like that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Right.
I got next, KJ. I got next. Now I've
Yes.
been dying to ask this question. So you're
Yeah.
at a fancy restaurant or fancy-ish, and you have your handbag, and there's no little hook for you to hook your handbag, but it's dirty on the bottom, so you don't want to put it on the table. Do you go half in the chair? Do you go on the lap? What do you do with the bag?
Absolutely. I love that question. Under no circumstances should your purse be on the table. No circumstances, whether it's dirty on the bottom or not. We don't know because we place it at different surfaces at different times. And sometimes ladies place their purse on the floor, which is a big no-no because there's germs there. So there are 3 different places you may position your purse. 1, right behind you, lodged between the back of the chair and your back. 2, if it is small enough, on your lap, under your napkin. 3, you may head over to Amazon, purchase a purse hook, and hang it from your purse. And of course, if there's a vacant seat next to you, that can be your purse seat. Under no circumstances on the table. So there are options.
That's amazing. I have the hook, just in case.
Yes, I have a hook in every purse that has a strap.
Very nice. Now, my question is, because obviously you are very much needed in society. I feel like etiquette is so far gone right now in society. And so do you feel, or has society lost its sense of manners?
Absolutely, it has, where there is such a demand for what I do. And you've noticed on social media, it is a global issue. It's a global demand because it's a global issue of folks just not understanding the dynamics and the need for courtesy, the need for proper grammar. Yes, the need for, yes, thank you. No, thank you. Hello, how are you? Having those small talk and being present for the small talk. How many times has someone asked you, how are you doing? And they're out the door before you even answer. It is so important to be present. If you ask a person how they're doing, be authentic about it. Stick around for the answer. That is so rare right now. And I often say that the generation before has failed the present generation. I don't blame the children for not knowing because they have to be taught in order to know. And so there is a break there between the 2 generations. And I'm just trying to fill that gap as much as possible, 1 student at a time.
That's
wow.
That's amazing.
Sorry, Tyrone, were you going to say something?
Oh, there was a question in the chat asking, do men appreciate women with etiquette? Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, I would say that men prefer that. The inverse is something that you're not going to see any man that's self-aware trying to get with.
Yeah. What, and have you seen that in your work?
Absolutely. And what I share quite often, KJ, is that just because you're a female doesn't automatically make you a lady. And just because you're a male doesn't automatically make you a gentleman. So therefore, gentlemen do appreciate the ladylike behaviors of our ladies. They appreciate the fact that some ladies allow them to open the door, allow them to seat them, allow them to do certain things and making sure they're positioned first. Now, there are some women who refuse to allow a gentleman to be a gentleman. And that's where it's sad. Oftentimes, I'm teaching in schools, preferably high schools, mainly high schools. And the young men, when I'm teaching them chivalry, they're like, well, the girls don't want that. They don't care about that. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. So how do you blame the young men who want to be gentlemen? However, the ladies or the young girls prefer not. They want to be independent. And I often say that this independence thing for women has gone a little too far, to the point where they do not appreciate that gentle treatment from our gentlemen.
Very good. We have a ton of super chats here. Let me get these in. Okay, folks, thank you all so much. Kung Fu CJ with the $5 super chat says, does Jackie know Marissa Terrell of the High Tea Society?
Not familiar with that name. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Teresa Raymundo with the $5 super chat said, I had to report for jury duty and people showed up in pajama pants. I know no one wants to do it, but don't show up in public like that. Right on. Thank you so much, Teresa. Rico with the $2 super chat says, last week I learned silverware placement from you. Oh, we have a fan of yours here.
Fantastic.
Yes, Charlie Lawrence with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Says, I agree 100. Never leave the house without shoes or boots on. All right. And Rico, Kevin Samuels. I mean, KJ, you're absolutely right. Okay. All right. Thank you, Rico. Kung Fu CJ with the $5 super chat says, the devil plan is in play. God said in Genesis that the evil one will try and stop procreation. Right on, Kung Fu CJ. Thank you. Hey, Nikki Nicole from John Phillips. All right. Kung Fu CJ, hold up, Tyrone. I have pretty feet.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I have another question.
Yeah.
Miss Jackie, I'm gonna sort of couch it in this. I have a pet peeve about being late, right? And even when I'm late, I'm so frustrated with myself. But beyond that, and I'm trying to hook it to manners, I guess. Manners says more of what I think of you, not so much as what I want to show about myself. So having said that, that's at least how I think of it. Having said that, what does lateness or perpetual lateness say about a person? Or
it says you have no regards to the other person's time. It's rude. And things happen. As some of my students say, life be lifing, right? So sometimes we're going to be late. Inform me in advance to allow me to make certain preparations. It is very important to give me advance notice that, oh, I'm going to be late like 10 minutes, 5 minutes. If you're going to be late 5 minutes, I need to know. We have a time for 9 o'clock. I need you to be there at 9, or if you're not going to be there, inform me well in advance so that I can make adjustments. It's all about showing respect for the other person. And you're absolutely right, Shelley. It's about respecting other people. That's what etiquette is about. Conducting yourself in a way that doesn't offend others. And we can very well offend others by how we behave. So it's thinking about the other person and how my conduct is going to impact them.
And I have a question. What role does the family play in teaching etiquette, Jackie?
A crucial role. A crucial role. Everything I teach should have started from home. Unfortunately, due to life, folks having busy schedules, working 2 and 3 jobs, especially if it's a single parent home, they just don't have that time to sit and nurture the child. That's why when I take the opportunity to teach children, there are times I have to be that not only an etiquette consultant, I have to be that support system. I have to be that person who sits and, well, tell me, why do you feel this way? It's like I have to be a mom to so many of these children because perhaps their mom just did not have the time. And we can't blame the mother at all times because we just never know their situation. However, when I play this role of adjusting a lifestyle and conduct, I must be concerned about what is happening on the inside of the person. Hence the name of my school, From the Inside Out. It is not just behavior. It's what's happening inside, internally, your mindset, your self-confidence, your self-esteem. What is going on with you? And if I help to adjust what's going on inside, applying the protocols that I teach will be no problem.
Yes.
I have a question. I really like to dress. Okay, so my preferred era is what I think is the golden age of menswear, is late 50s. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you would probably agree that psychologically, when people dress up, okay, they tend to behave differently. There's a lot more self-confidence in people who dress well. I always say you're not going to find people fighting in, $400 suits. So how do we, and this is a question for the men and the women, how do we encourage people to not just not wear pajamas in public or open-toed sandals, but to actually, start to seek ways to really dress better to help them improve their self-esteem and that sort of thing?
I believe that, and that's such a phenomenal question. I believe that when individuals exit their homes in pajama pants, hair bonnets, bedroom slippers, and so forth, they don't understand their value. That's the thing. So when you pinpoint that and you begin to address their self-esteem and their confidence, teaching them how to do things, because I watch my students quite often, and when they don't know how to do something, their confidence is low. They're like, they retreat. And when I teach them and I practice with them and I show grace and patience, you see their confidence boost. It's like, oh my gosh, now I know how to do this. And so when you begin to value yourself and begin to feel better about yourself, you begin to present yourself better as well.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
My pleasure.
Are there any additional little, critiques or information you'd like to leave our audience? And also, please include where people can find you and reach out.
Absolutely. And thank you for the opportunity. Of course, without a doubt, just keep in mind that we're communicating 100% all day long. We're either communicating verbally and or non-verbally. Be responsible for your communication. Understand that every single thing you do speaks. Be responsible for the message that you're sending. That's important. Secondly, you can always find me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, even YouTube, From the Inside Out, SOE. And our website is From the Inside Out, SOE.com. We have tons of products. We have online courses that you may access on demand. You may access me. We teach via Zoom. We travel internationally. We teach in person. We even have over 300 etiquette consultants internationally. I've certified them and they do what I do in their country, state, and so forth. So we have a plethora of topics and services for you. So access us. We will get the information to you. Listen, there is no reason that you do not have access to etiquette protocols because I've made them available for you. So ladies, thank you. Gentlemen, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure and I look forward to hopefully joining you again.
Thank you for coming.
Yes.
My pleasure.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Right. Have a very
good evening.
Yes. Wow. It's just like having her on made me just feel lighter, like make me feel dainty, she's just, I could hear her speak all day. So folks, and we have a ton of super chats. So I want to get to you now. So let's see here. We have, all right. Let's see here. Charlie Lawrence with a $2 super chat says, I hate being late to anything. Thank you so much, Charlie. All right. Red Bucks with the $3 super chat. Thank you. Rico says, thank you. I hate the dress shoes and socks with shorts. All right.
Now I have done that, but we were in Bermuda and we were at an event. So that's how they dress down there.
Okay.
When in Rome, do as the Romans do, I guess, right?
Kinda. There are some things the Romans do that we might not be interested in.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, so we definitely have to have her back on.
Yes.
I think this is such a great tool for particularly young people, because again, civility, politeness, manners are far and few between in this day and time. So I really enjoyed her. And folks, if you still believe manners matter and that common courtesy shouldn't be controversial, go ahead and give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who's tired of the chaos too. All right, so we still have so much stuff for you guys. Yes, that's our merch store there. So you can always get some merch. Go to www.popandpoliticslive.com and click shop. All right. So let's see here. Want to move on to Tesla. So Tesla has been under attack. We have been reporting on all of the Tesla attacks and the attacks against Elon Musk. But this one is pretty bad. This is a Tesla attack in Arizona caught on tape. An elderly Arizona woman, she's the latest to get assaulted because she was driving a Tesla. She was boxed in on a busy highway and beaten up by another driver who targeted her driving a Tesla. This is clip 2. Take a look.
We should note, again, and you and I have said this in the air many times, there is no evidence that Joe Biden was, involved in any wrongdoing.
Of course, I want to note that there is no evidence that Joe Biden or Hunter Biden has done anything wrong.
I just want to reiterate.
And let's be clear for the viewers.
There is no evidence Biden did anything wrong.
Governor, you got a second?
Literally talking to the president right now to specifically answer the question of what we can do for you and your daughter.
Can I hear it? Can I hear your call? Because I don't believe it.
This is why independent media is so important. Thanks to people like you, patriots who love America and stand for truth, we're making a difference. Together, we've turned them off, called them out for their lies and propaganda, and held them accountable for their disdain for God-fearing, freedom-loving Americans like us. But we can't stop here. It's time to take action with our dollars. Let's make 2025 the year we double down on our commitment to values-driven choices. Vote with your dollars. Support Made in America. Back companies that honor our families, faith, and country. We found an exciting way to make this switch, and we want you to join us. Check out www.popandswitch.com and click Yes, I want to make the switch. It's that easy. It's time to walk away from corporations like BlackRock and Vanguard that undermine our principles. Let's invest in America. Let's support businesses that share our love for this country. You don't have to take on everything at once, but you can start here. Join us in making this one small yet powerful step. Visit www.popandswitch.com. Click the link and schedule a call with our team to learn how you can make the switch. Together, we can create real change.
What's up, guys? This is Giovanni, co-founder of Metro Conservative Media. We are the definitive home for the urban conservative. You think you got what it takes? Go to metroconservativemedia.com and click Join the Movement now.
And now Tesla owners under attack in Arizona.
I'm just appalled. I didn't buy my car for a political statement. I bought my car because it's really fun to drive. And my politics have nothing to do with that. And I'm ashamed of our society and what they're doing.
This is video of a Tesla attack in Flagstaff last week. It shows a green car pulling up next to a Tesla on busy Route 66, then swerving in front to box the vehicle in. The driver then walks over to the 61-year-old woman in the Tesla and reportedly starts hitting her while she's behind the wheel.
I started to say, "You cut me off. What's your problem?" But I don't know how much of that got out, and he started to punch me with a closed fist.
At one point, the victim, who wants to hide her identity, says she bit the man's hand. Moments later, the passenger of the green car appears to walk over and pull the attacker away. They finally get back in their car and drive off. The incident is among the latest attacks on Arizona Tesla drivers, being targeted because of the car they drive. We also spoke to a woman who told us she left a grocery store in Flagstaff recently and found a note on her car that said, "When she's a Nazi and a loser." A few weeks later, she received a threatening text calling her a racist POS.
It's wrong, it's deplorable, and I think they're just hurting people. They're not really hurting a company or Tesla.
Both of the Tesla owners targeted have...
Wow. All right, so let's get into this. Shelley, what are your thoughts on that exchange?
You know what? Besides the heart going out to that woman, these people need to be round up. I don't know. I want to say something, but I don't know if they deserve that. But they definitely need to be rounded up and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Again, we talked about this a few weeks ago. This is no less domestic terrorism. And now if you want to add in stalking and vandalism, I don't know what other category it might fit, but it's certainly, I would even say attempted murder, because somebody's going to be and can be killed, murdered in these instances. So these people are dangerous. They need to be rounded up and certainly prosecuted quickly and swiftly.
Absolutely. Tyrone, I want to go to you on this. I mean, what is going on? People have really lost their minds. Is social media and the news driving people to do this deranged things, or what are your thoughts there?
Social media, the legacy media, and politicians like Jasmine Crockett, like Chuck Schumer and Maxine Waters, people like Jimmy Kimmel. Okay, he had a little tongue-in-cheek encouragement of people to go out and commit these acts. But Paul Kim, let's not forget this guy's name. We need to follow his journey through the justice system, because he was the guy that was apprehended for firebombing and shooting up a Tesla dealership. Now, he's being tried federally. They're not going to lose. And he's going to spend a substantial amount of time in the ADX Supermax prison in Colorado with El Chapo. This is a place with a Unabomber, several terrorists were. This is a rough place that he may not leave. So I think that Jasmine Crockett, she's nowhere to be found now. Okay. He got that battery in his back and amped up and went out and thought he was a big man doing this cowardly crap. And you're going to find that there are no real gang affiliations for, protester when you go to prison. You're going to be caught between the Black Guerrilla family, the Latin King Serenos, the white power groups, and good for you. I wish we had a camera in there every day of the week to let people see what such a stupid act resulted in. It's kind of like rap music. Okay, they never tell you. They never make rap songs about you being locked up in prison for 20 years. You notice that? So these people need to go to prison, and they need to feel the full consequences of their actions, because they're threatening people. But I'll just say this, and then I'll end it. We need to also, our good friend Giovanni always says, bring back shame. We need to point at these people who are inciting this violence. Again, people like Jasmine Crockett, people like Chuck Schumer, Jimmy Kimmel, Maxine Waters. We need to repeat their names, shame them, because look, guys, we now know that if the media and these politicians and pop culture told these folks to come burn your house down, that's exactly what they try to do. Emphasis on the word try.
Nicole, this is horrible. An elderly woman. I mean, they're not, now they've gone past they're vandalizing Teslas and things like that, and they're actually assaulting people. This is crazy.
Well, it's nothing short than crazy, but I think they're confused. I think the level of confusion is that they think that Joe Biden is president, or that, in their slumber, Kamala has, assumed the presidency. Because in that regard, when America was burning and it was okay to burn America, when it was okay to firebomb, okay to yank statues off their bases, it was okay. And no one held you accountable. Well, those days are behind us, because every single one of these little twerps are going to feel the wrath of the American government, the full power of the American government. This guy not only was attacking, quote unquote, Tesla, but he actually assaulted another human being who was minding her damn business.
Right.
That's a crime in every one of these states, and your political leanings have nothing to do with it. I'm all for Democrats eating other Democrats. It makes my life, it's a fun thing. It's almost as good as drinking these liberal tears, right? It's a beautiful thing. However, this assault on other human beings because of their political leanings is the exact same thing they got Trump shot at in Butler, Pennsylvania. It is the exact same thing. We have to call it what it is and stamp it out now. This is what happens when everybody gets a participation trophy. Nobody knows how to catch an L and move on with their lives. These are people who are saying, oh, MSNBC is telling me to go out here and riot. They must have my back. They don't have your back. You're going to prison alone. Joy's not coming with you. Don Lemon's not coming with you. What's that little twerp that's on the Black channel? Forget his name. The little short black guy that's married to the pastor. It'll come to me.
Richie?
No. It's
not Jamal Bryant.
Jamal Bryant.
Roland
Martin. Auntie Roro.
Yes. So when you think about these people who are pushing the envelope and saying, fight the oligarchy and all this other foolishness, they say that from their gated communities. Right. They say that from their full dinner tables, while your dumb self is trying to fend off Bubba and Tyrone and them in the
Wait a damn minute.
Oh, right.
So they're trying their best.
Bubba and Leroy.
Right. He said Tyrone.
They're in their jail fighting for their virginity, and you out here, listening to this foolishness. Sorry, Tyrone, but it is very serious, and I want them to hear us and hear us clearly. This has nothing to do with politics and everything to do with crime and criminality. And if you're dumb enough to fall for the trap, we don't need you on the streets anyway. Put them in a cage until they learn better.
Well, speaking of W's and L's, as you mentioned, what's going to happen on April 2nd, folks? A lot of people are nervous about what President Trump is calling Liberation Day. So White House officials are quietly freaking out, according to the Daily Mail, over Trump's big Liberation Day announcement on April 2nd, where he's expected to lay out a major America First tariff plan. The left is already melting down, and they're not even sure what he's going to say yet. So it's the left and sort of the right. So first question to you, Tyrone, should we be panicking? What's going to happen if these tariffs, if he's actually puts forward these tariffs, if he's not bluffing and the tariffs go forward?
First thing, that article from, I think it was the UK Guardian, I believe that was where the article came from. Not one named source.
Exactly.
Okay, that's number one.
It was the Daily Mail. It was
the Daily Mail. Okay. Not one named source. So I really doubt the veracity of their reporting on this. As far as the tariffs, there will be an adjustment period. But guess how you can avoid that? You can buy American. Now, one of the things that the tariffs will also do is they will push up wages here in America. That's one of the biggest problems we've had. We saw 21% cumulative inflation during the Biden administration. I heard none of these people really complaining about that. None of these legacy news figures complaining about that. So we're so far down the road on inflation. We now need wages to start to really catch up. So when you have a situation where more manufacturing is coming back to this country, you will have a corresponding increase in wages because the labor market will tighten. Is this going to happen by next Friday? No, there will be an adjustment period. Okay. And there have been adjustment periods in America before, and there will be more before we check out of here. People need to tighten their belts, buy American, and also you need to look for bargains in the stock market. Right now, these crazy leftists, they're doing wonders for a buying opportunity in Tesla, for example, in my opinion. It's not investment advice. But yeah, I think the tariff plan is going to work. We're going to sit back 8 to 12 months from now, and we're going to see the power of it. If that weren't true, you wouldn't see all of these other countries scrambling, tearing their hair out, trying to figure out how they are going to deal with this. We have the economic power. We're the biggest economy in the world. All right. And it's time for people to stand up and start acting like it.
But could this lead to a trade war?
Okay. You can't beat us in a trade.
Thank you.
Canada. What are you going to do? Canada? First of all, we're making maple syrup in Vermont. All right. So, I mean, what Canada is about 2%, accounts for about 2% of our GDP. All right. We have a $30 trillion economy. No one else in the world, not even China, has that. We'll be just fine.
Okay. All right. Shelley, what's your thoughts here?
Look, I think you're right. I think there will be an adjustment period. I think there are people panicking, if you will, on the left and the right because people don't know what to do, what's going to happen. But I also believe that America first. I am in agreement that we have been paying the world, if you will. We've been paying their debts and can't even pay our own. But we have been paying out so much that many of us, many Americans, left or right, think that that's what we're supposed to do. And we think that it's supposed to continue nonstop. Let there be some adjustment period. I say, look, I want the tariff wars, if you will, because when we have these price fights, who's going to pay, who's going to win, who's going to manufacture what, where, when, then let the market sort it out. Will some things be higher? Yes. Will some things may or may not be readily available? That's possible too. But in the end, we need to take care of America and Americans first. And Americans deserve better wages, if you will. Raises do need to increase. There's not anything, at least that I can think of, there's nothing that we can't manufacture here, at least in mass, the big items or commodities, we can manufacture, I would say at least most of it then. Most of it here and pay ourselves first, if you will. That's how I'm looking at it for the long term.
Well, I'm not sure about that. And I mean, you're talking about, I think they said 15 countries that are going to be affected by these tariffs. Some of those, we get a lot of major goods from. Taiwan, Japan, are two of the largest ones that I can think of right now. We get some major products from those two countries.
Okay.
Especially with tech. And cars and all that type of stuff. Now, you can buy American cars, of course, but some of these technical pieces, I think, are going to cause a little major heartache on some fronts. Nicole,
but Hyundai, I think Honda, and I can't remember. They're going to be manufacturing their cars here on American soil.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Continuing.
It's going to be. Is it now or when?
Well, Toyota's
it's not going to happen next week, but it was going to happen.
Right.
It's not going to happen next week.
All of those manufacturers are here now.
Yes.
But they've all agreed to expand production here in America. So, and just to be specific, Canada's GDP is $2 trillion. Okay. Ours is 30. Okay. They don't want to be in a war with us on any front at all.
For any reason. Any reason.
Right. I'm not even so much worried about Canada because, like you said, I mean, I don't think they're not major manufacturers of important goods that I can think of. I mean, maple syrup.
Which one did you worry about?
Well, without maple syrup, I'm talking about the technical stuff, like Taiwan, for instance. Don't we get wasn't it something that was very important?
Like not the syrup, what do you call the chips? The chips.
Semiconductors, right.
Right. It should be right. those. I mean, Japan, we get a lot of our computer.
But that's the thing, KJ. We shouldn't rely on them to give us. That's what I'm saying. So we need to start bringing them here, because if we do, and hopefully not, have to go to war with China, whomever else, why should we rely on them for the product that we need to protect ourselves?
I agree to that. I agree with all of that. And yes, I think we should manufacture it here. But now it would be one thing if it was planned that way, where, you know, we had a plan in place where we were going to start manufacturing these goods and the hit would not be so traumatic. But we're forced to do it now.
Right.
And so I'm just wondering how that's going to
understand this, KJ. And it's easy to lose sight of the second part of this, which is the tightening of the labor market as more manufacturing comes back to America. So, as we said, we got Toyota, Honda, Hyundai, and others actually manufacturing everything from toys to all kinds of things, saying we're going to expand in America. So that's jobs, okay? And as those jobs are absorbed, it's going to make labor more expensive. It's going to push up that wage so people have more money every other Friday. The other thing is, okay, so that's the back half of that. The front half is this. Take Mexico, for example. 80% of Mexico's exports come to America. We have them over a barrel like you wouldn't believe. They have to negotiate or their economy collapses. Now, they can talk as tough as they want, and you can have some economic illiterate on one of these news channels come out and try to paint it, you know, adverse to Trump. But the reality is, if Mexico and many other countries are in the same position, does not negotiate, who's buying all the stuff that China manufactures? It ain't Chinese people, it's us. So we're in the strongest position, and Trump understands that, is exploiting that position.
I would say, KJ, this is a Band-Aid moment, right? This is America's Band-Aid moment. We are so very accustomed to having a bevy of worthless Chinese products in every doggone dollar store across this nation that people go, oh my God, if we don't do business with China, where will I get my bundles? Where will I get my fingernails? Where will I get my, you know what? Americans know how to make things. And for generations we did. And we moved away from that. Do you remember they told the guys who worked on the pipeline, learn to code, right?
Right.
So let me tell these federal employees, learn to build. Manufacturing jobs are coming. Get your manual dexterity up. It's coming. And these will be livable wages jobs. We're not talking about paying you $3, $4 an hour. This is going to be something that is going to be good for America. Now, will it scare people? People who are like, well, wait a minute, like KJ saying, what's the plan? We have to have a plan. Sometimes when you're punking the rest of the world, you just have to pull their punk card and show them who you are and what you're working with.
I agree.
You believe in America first, or you're Chicken Little. Now, I would love to see who the Daily Mail talked to. I have a feeling he talked to them, they're sitting at the desk next to him. But when I tell you that this is what we planned for, Trump said from the beginning that we're going to be tariffs, that we were going to put America first. That means pushing everybody else to the back of the line.
And this is what I have to, Nicole. I mean, to your point, this is when did the left see taxes that they don't like? All of a sudden now they're concerned about taxes and taxes. These are the same people who will tax you until the cows come home. That's number one. And they used to be concerned about having a quote unquote livable wage. Now, all of a sudden, because of the tariffs, which will, like Tyrone said, which will increase wages for Americans. Oh, now that's a problem. Only because Donald J. Trump is behind this and putting this idea forth, and not only putting this forth, putting this plan together come April the 2nd. So these people are full of it. They are fake. They want America to keep being ass kissing around the world, and they want to bleed us out paying for everybody else's stuff except taking care of America. I bet you if Obama or Biden had come up with this plan, they would be all for it.
Absolutely.
Sure. I agree. I'm just asking the tough questions because, many people vote. We know a lot of people voted for President Trump. A lot of people voted for him thinking that he was going to give it to the deep state, that he was going to give it to these high-powered people in leadership and in office and things like that. But we've seen over the last couple of weeks, and I'm going to say this, though this may upset people, but we've seen that a lot of little people, the little guys, have gotten hit. As much as we want the government to be smaller and we don't want a waste and fraud and things like that, a lot of little people have lost their jobs, their government jobs. They may have worked there 20 years, 10 years, 15 years. Now we're seeing these tariffs that are going to, have an effect on cars, which will affect car insurance. We got the summertime coming. You got young people getting licenses and things like that. So I just say all of this to say, I think these are possible outcomes. Am I saying I'm regretting voting for President Trump? No way. I agree that this needed to happen, but I still think it's important to talk about what the effect of this will be in the short term and long term.
Well, long term,
Tyrone gave me some good advice there for the long term.
Well, conservatives shouldn't have a problem with going back to the horse and buggy.
Listen, in the short term, KJ, let me tell you this. The short term, that what you can do is buy American, so American work. That is what you can do in the short term. When you go to a grocery store or, the Walmart or Target or wherever you get like your knickknacks and stuff like that, turn it around and see if it has that Made in America sign, if it has the American flag on the back. Now, be careful, because there is a USA Mexico called USA. Right? So you want it to be U.S.A. right? The United States of America. It may cost you 50 cents more. It may cost you 75 cents more. But that 50 or 75 cents is going to help your neighbor, who may be one of those little people who were pushed out of the federal government, find themselves a job. Sometimes, being so privileged to be an American, we forget the responsibility part of being an American. Sometimes it sucks. It's a Band-Aid moment, but it's going to get better in the long run. And that's the reason why I voted for President Trump. It was going to be iffy. There's going to be some shakeup. But on the other side of that, America is going to be great again. And we all play a part in that.
And let me say this real quick. Good advice on that Made in America piece. You can even do that with your car. The first number in your VIN number, it indicates where the car was manufactured. So 1, 4, and 5 is America, USA. So keep that in mind. You're looking for that new car. 1, 4, and 5 is the USA. The other thing is people, I'm noticing conservatives kind of acting like the Israelites coming out of Egypt. Okay, now they've seen all of these miracles, right?
Come on.
I mean, they walked through the Red Sea. They got water on this side, dry land. We're walking through. Moses leaves for a few days and they're building a golden calf. So I would say to conservatives, just look, a lot is going right. Okay, he's not a king. All right, we still got a judiciary. We still got a legislative branch. There are going to be some bumps in the road. But look, it didn't take 4 years to get here. All right, it took 230 some odd. So a little patience, please.
Yeah, I agree. And good words of very good words for people to hear. So, folks, if you're ready to see the U.S. stop bowing to global interest and start standing up for the American jobs, like this video, subscribe to this channel, and drop a comment. Do you support a new wave of America First tariffs? Let us know in the comments here. All right. So, moving right along to Trans Day of Visibility. So before we do that, I want to acknowledge our super chatters. We do have some here. Anna Barnes says, the last 2 Fridays, I haven't seen a show. There isn't any on. Why? Oh, thank you first for watching, Anna. Yes, for the last 2 Fridays, we have been out just with scheduling issues, but we will be back this Friday. So we will see you on Friday night, this Friday. So thank you so much. Teresa Raimundo with the $5 super chat says, Shelly, tardiness bothers me too. I think it's the military thing. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Teresa. Kung Fu CJ with a $5 super chat. These people are attacking people that vote like they do.
Yep.
All
Good
right.
point.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Now moving on to this Trans Day of Visibility. This is one of the reasons why I voted for Trump, for getting rid of these trans agenda. So today is supposed to be the Trans Day of Visibility. And they are celebrating it in certain municipalities and parts of the country, including here in Maryland. Here in an area called Anne Arundel County, they had a drag queens reading at a library for 6 to 10-year-olds here in Maryland. So this is what, then remember you guys, was it last year? This fell on Easter and the White House asked all of the transgender people to come to the White House and they had them naked on the lawn. Was that last?
I think it was 2 years ago, maybe. But,
okay. So this is still around, and here is multi-millionaire celebrity Cynthia Erivo. She just starred in the remake of Wicked. Says her life is hard because we don't affirm her chosen pronouns. This is clip 1. Take a look.
It isn't easy. None of it is. Waking up and choosing to be yourself, proclaiming a space belongs to you when you don't feel welcomed, teaching people on a daily basis how to address you, and dealing with the frustration of reteaching people a word that has been in the human vocabulary since the dawn of time. They, them. Words used to describe pedantically 2 or more people, poetically, a person who is simply more. It isn't easy to ask people to treat you with dignity since you should just have it because it's a given. It isn't easy to learn to grow who you are if the world around you is knocking at your door, telling you to stay inside.
All right, all that jibber jabber. Nicole, what are your thoughts here?
She made a brilliant point. There is a one word that has been in the English language, in language all across the globe, not just English, for years, probably since maybe not the first person, but maybe the third person, possibly the fourth. It's called crazy. This wench is all kind of crazy. If there is not a poster child for mental health, behavioral change, this is one of them. If you choose to be a they, them, us, we, whatever it is that you feel special that day, then have at it. But what you cannot do is demand that we participate in your delusion. We will not. We have said that definitively. And it doesn't matter how many diamonds you wear around your neck, claiming that, oh, poor me. It falls flat. You and all the rest of them have the divine right to be who you want to be. I also have the right to not participate in that delusion. And I'm going to stand on it. And I hope the rest of America joins me.
Yeah. Shelley, I mean, this woman's walking red carpets in designer gowns, flying private, cashing Hollywood checks. But we're supposed to believe pronouns are what's making life difficult?
Well, first of all, she said you wake up and you choose. So she's acknowledging that it's a choice. That on any given day, she can choose to be them, they, or whomever. That's number one. And I thought, you know what? Maybe people are not treating her with dignity is because on some day they don't know if it's her or them or they. So maybe they're treating the other persons with dignity and then she just hasn't caught up yet because she doesn't know who she is on this day. That's how confused she sounds. And so that's why she's confused and we're not. I mean, I'm still confused about this trans man, trans woman. I don't know which way it goes. But I do know this. This is what Nicole said. It's a delusion. Now she's a victim. She's a victim now because someone may choose not to call her them or they. Please, parents, if you love your children or your nieces or nephews, please keep them out of Hollywood. Please.
Yeah. Yeah, Tyrone. I mean, she isn't powerless. She has global influence, as we can see, media backing, and full cultural support from Hollywood and the progressive left. So, what is she talking about being marginalized?
You know, she is suffering from, I don't know what kind of mental illness it is, where you need external parties to give you affirmation.
Yes.
Okay. You can't reach the highest level of Maslow's hierarchy, self-actualization, unless I somehow participate and enable you to do that, which is, it's unfortunate for her. The other thing is, you know, again, Shelley, you're so right with that Hollywood thing. What a pathetic place where all these narcissists congregate, who think that the universe is so small and that they're the prime deity in it. Just a sad collection of folks. And the really sad part about it is she got up there and she talked like she was about to reveal the cure for cancer. Okay, it was something real. Okay. You know, somehow humanity was able to muddle through before Hollywood came into existence. I do not take these people seriously. And me and my wife, we don't watch, I won't say anything, but it is extremely rare for us to watch a movie that was, or anything that was produced after 2015. We don't have TV, we don't have cable, but we stream. And what did we watch? We watched something from 1989 last night, okay? Because Hollywood is such a joke today. It's just so pathetic. I want no part of it. Lady, be whatever it is you think you want to be on any given day. Obligates me to nothing.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about real struggles, you know, talking about these tariffs and how they may increase, you know, the cost of consumer goods and things. People are battling inflation, job insecurity, crime, broken education system. The list goes on. And she wants us to cry for her because nobody will call her some stupid they, them. And when she needs to be called it. That is the correct word, pronoun. It is what she needs to be called, not they, them. It's only one of her. She needs to be called an it. But these people, the one thing she's suffering from, as many of you guys have said, she has a mental health issue. These people are deranged and they need help. And then, you know, until they acknowledge that, we can't, it's nothing we're going to be able to do.
We can do the best thing that we can do is ignore them. And I mean them quite literally. I don't mean a group of them. I mean all the people who identify as them. I'm talking about ignoring you. The one thing that a common thread between these type of people is that they all crave our acceptance. Tyrone hit the nail on the head. Their particular type of narcissism only flourishes if we pay attention to them and we dance to their music. This is why they celebrated when the federal government was requiring people to put their pronouns on their signature block. And there were meetings, especially in Montgomery County, Maryland, where they would say, well, what's your name? And I would say, Nicole Bennett. Well, what are your pronouns? Nicole Ann Bennett. Okay, that's what you can call me. And if you can't manage that, and they would just kick me off the meeting because I refused. Simply refused. And this is, America has had enough. If getting shellacked in that election wasn't enough, if Americans telling you we're not going to call you them, they, it, binary, non-binary, plus, minus, you know, division, whatever the hell you're feeling like today, that's a personal problem. Yeah. That's for you and your family to work through. The rest of the world doesn't have to pay attention to that. We don't.
Yeah, and let me I brought this up before on the show. Notice how it only works with gender. It doesn't work with economics. So I can't walk into a mortgage broker tomorrow and say, I identify with someone who could qualify for a $2 million mortgage. That somehow that's not accepted. No. Okay. But the exact science of biology, that's totally able to be manipulated.
Yeah. It's emotional manipulation. Clear and simple. That's what it is.
Emotional blackmail.
We have some super chats here. I want to acknowledge our super chatters here, folks. Thank you all so much. Chadwick, what says bling, the wife and I just watched M for Murder. Okay. All right. Carla with the $5 super chat says, thank you for your perspectives and explanations. I always say leave your show better than I arrived. Thank you, Carla.
Thank you. That's very nice.
All right. Taurus Prince 516 with the $5 super chat says, I hate to see what her gender reveal party looks like. Exactly, Taurus. Thank you.
That's right.
Thank you so much.
You know what?
I didn't end here. Let's talk about the military. So, President Trump made the announcement of removing transgenders from the military. Now, recently, a judge blocked that executive order. But I want to look into this a little bit more. Do you all think it's good that they be removed? This is clip 6.
We should note, again, you and I have said this in the air many times, there is no evidence that Joe Biden was, involved in any wrongdoing.
Of course, want to note that there is no evidence that Joe Biden or Hunter Biden has done anything wrong.
I just want to reiterate.
And let's be clear for the viewers.
There is no evidence Biden did anything wrong.
Governor, you got a second?
Literally talking to the president right now to specifically answer the question of what we can do for you and your daughter.
Can I hear it? Can I hear your talk? Because I don't believe it.
This is why independent media is so important. Thanks to people like you, patriots who love America and stand for truth, we're making a difference. Together, we've turned them off, called them out for their lies and propaganda, and held them accountable for their disdain for God-fearing, freedom-loving Americans like us. But we can't stop here. It's time to take action with our dollars. Let's make 2025 the year we double down on our commitment to values-driven choices. Vote with your dollars. Support Made in America. Back companies that honor our families, faith, and country. We found an exciting way to make this switch, and we want you to join us. Check out www.popandswitch.com and click Yes, I Want to Make the Switch. It's that easy. It's time to walk away from corporations like BlackRock and Vanguard that undermine our principles. Let's invest in America. Let's support businesses that share our love for this country. You don't have to take on everything at once, but you can start here. Join us in making this one small yet powerful step. Visit www.popandswitch.com. Click the link and schedule a call with our team to learn how you can make the switch. Together, we can create real change.
What's up, guys? This is Giovanni, co-founder of Metro Conservative Media. We are the definitive home for the urban conservative. You think you got what it takes? Go to metroconservativemedia.com and click Join the Movement now.
What made you want to join the services?
I made a promise to my father.
Petty Officer Second Class Paulo Batista worked for years to join the ranks of America's armed forces.
Nobody wanted to help me. I went through at least 22 different recruiting offices. I wanted to serve.
The amateur bodybuilder completed his gender transition before enlisting at the age of 38. In 2021, President Biden lifted the ban on transgender people in the military. 4 years later, the naval intelligence analyst could be kicked out.
Our warriors should be focused on defeating America's enemies, not figuring out their genders.
The White House says service members receiving transition-related health care are not physically capable of meeting military readiness requirements.
The Department of Defense has been given a 30-day notice to come up with a plan. The Army was the first to announce new measures, banning transgender troops from joining its ranks, pausing medical treatments, and putting an end to promotions with immediate effect.
This is my second Navy and Marine Corps achievement.
San Diego is also the home port of the USS Lincoln, where Parker Moore works as a nuclear electronic technician. The transgender sailor trained for more than 2 years for that role and has been actively serving for more than a decade.
I'm married. I have a 6-year-old son. This doesn't just affect me as an individual. It affects my family and my entire command. If one day I'm not allowed to do that job anymore, it affects the other 500 people in my department who now have to pick up that slack.
A 2017 analysis found discharging transgender troops would cost nearly $1 billion, far more than the roughly $52 million the Pentagon spent over the last decade on transition-related health care.
I think that most people who do have an issue with transgender service members are uneducated. I do not think they actually understand the process or may not have ever interacted with a transgender person.
Parker told us despite the ruling temporarily blocking the ban, it's impossible to live with the uncertainty, and they're planning to leave the military. Paulo said he'll fight until the end. The justice.
All right. So, Shelley, I know ex-military. Do you think they need to be removed?
Not just because they're transgender. I think it has to be related to them not being able to fulfill their duties. I think the one guy or whatever, I don't know whatever he was. I'm just saying one guy he transitioned before he went in. And so he's been performing his job for X amount of years. The second person for more than 10 years. Again, I don't know. Maybe they are. If they cannot perform their duties and because they are transgender, whether that be health related, I don't know, gender related, whatever the case may be, then I think that would be a reason. If they are capable of performing their job, and particularly the one who entered the military already trans.
All right. So let me just say this before I get you involved in this, Tyrone. It's the President Trump's executive order says it is the policy of the United States government to establish high standards for troop readiness, lethality, cohesion, honesty, humility, uniformity, and integrity, the order states. This policy is inconsistent with the medical, surgical, and mental health constraints on individuals with gender dysphoria. This policy is also inconsistent with shifting pronoun usage or use of pronouns that inaccurately reflect an individual's sex. So, are we saying that this gender dysphoria is a mental health issue or not? Do you believe that they should be removed from the military because they're transgender, or is it because if they need medical transitioning and they haven't transitioned yet? What's your thoughts on it?
All right. Well, on the face of it, I would initially agree with Shelley. However, it's not just, you have a transition surgery and you're done. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of maintenance that is involved in transitioning either way. Okay. Now, the pharmaceutical companies, I'm sure they love it. But these ongoing medical necessities are not something that you see in the, rank and file troops historically. Okay. Health maintenance is something that, acquiring a condition or having a condition that requires ongoing health maintenance is a disqualifying factor. In fact, even something as slight as certain food allergies, right, can disqualify an otherwise physically promising, intellectually promising candidate. All right. So, yeah, I agree that, hey, if you're able to do the job, great. But if you're going to need a lot of downtime or a lot of healthcare over and above what the mean is for the regular forces, then no. Okay. Right. There are a lot of people. Well, I'm not questioning their patriotism or their commitment. There are a lot of people who would have loved to be in the military, but they had some sort of disqualifying issue, okay, medically or mentally. And the American Psychological Association did have, they might have changed it at this point, knowing the climate of the political guys. But that was listed as a mental issue, okay, gender dysphoria. All right. So the military's job is very, very simply stated: kill people and break shit. That's it. All right. It's not a social experiment or anything like that. It's just meant for them to go to war, God forbid, if we have to, and be very effective in doing so. And if you can't be assured that a soldier, sailor, airman, Coast Guardsman base forceman, Marine, is able to do that because they're going to need some downtime for medical care, then it's a no-go, guys. Come on now.
So Nicole, I mean, let's say they have gotten all of their surgeries, they're fully transitioned into whatever gender they want to be. Should they still be allowed to join the military?
Well, that's what Tyrone was saying. It's never over. It is a continuing process. And if you stop at that process at any point, your body, designed by God Almighty, reverts back to what it was before. You start losing your breast tissue and your voice gets deep again. You know, all the things that you've been chemically changing about yourself, when that chemical is disrupted, you know, you start to grow, you know, facial hair again. You start to kind of, quote unquote, man up, right? And it is in the DSM. Gender dysphoria is real. It always has been real. And this is not a new phenomenon. What's new is that I don't know why, but America has seemed to fold to this particular set of mental illnesses. It is absolutely beyond me. But our U.S. military has this thing. It's a beautiful thing that you're not judged on the base of your color, based on your character. You're judged on the same plane as everybody else. So if you can't, you know, participate in an overnight drill because, you know, your testosterone is coming tomorrow and you can't miss a shot, that tells me that you're not ready for combat because you can't practice like everybody else. You can't be in the field like everyone else. And when we have to start making carve-outs for particular types of soldiers, where does it stop? Where does that stop? We need one force with the mission to kick ass and take names. That's all we're here for. We're not here, you know, to make people feel good about their choices. There are plenty of places in the private sector where the 38-year-old transgender man, woman, I too shall get confused of which way we're supposed to go with that. But the transgender that was 38 years old before he joined the military, the answer would have been, no, homie, you too old anyway. I'm not looking for 38-year-olds to be in my military. Give me somebody who can do what we need to do. Again, this is a fighting force. This is not a career position. This is supposed to be fighting force. So if we judge them all by the same stick, it is not fair to the soldiers who had flat feet, or people who wanted to be soldiers who had flat feet who couldn't come. The guys who had anemia and couldn't come into the military service. Guys who were too fat and couldn't come into the military service. For us to then create a whole separate breakout for people who may have all of those things, but because they claim this transgenderism, it gives them a protected status in the place where we're looking for everybody to be static, one fighting force. So that's the reason why. It has nothing to do with who they choose to sleep with and how they fancy they woke up in the morning. Everything to do with them meeting the mission.
The mission is mentally competent people. I don't understand why you guys going all the way around the mulberry bush. I don't care if they're done transitioning. I don't care if these women got these formed penises and the men has formed vaginas. I don't even care if they don't have to take any more medication. It is a mental issue and it should not be allowed in the military. I don't care if they detransitioned and transitioned 2-3 times and then they detransitioned back to their biological sex. They should be out. They should not be allowed because it is a mental issue. Something is there. Now, this is just the military. There's plenty of other jobs. And one thing that the lady said in the video, that she said most of these people haven't even spoken to a transgender person. I have worked with transgender people. You know, I have talked.
I always say that.
People. Yeah. Very nice people, very nice. The ones that I have had the chance to work with, but they are mentally unwell.
Yeah, I'm not disputing you. One of the things that they always say that you haven't met one or talked to one. I've met a few and talked to a few. One of the things that, so this is going to be, I'm going to call it devil's advocate or whatever. So in that clip, they talked about the economics of it. That it was $52 million versus 960, I don't know if it was million or almost $1 billion, basically, right? that it would cost to get them out versus the treatment that they're receiving while they're in. I don't know if those numbers are accurate, and I'm just taking them what was in that clip. So if we're talking about the data and the economics, then it's going to cost much more. I mean, multiple times more to get them out than it would be to treat them just on that, again, per se. So we talk about this stuff like this a lot of times on look at the numbers, look at the data. So in this instance, again, I don't know if that was accurate. I'm just taking it at face value.
Right. Well, a lot of things these governments are doing may cost more money. They were saying that these layoffs, the amount of people that they laid off from the federal government is actually going to, in the long run, going to cost more than it would to the money that they would release. So, I mean, it's just, I don't know what makes sense in the long run. And they're saying this makes sense in the long run for missions and things like that. So,
and I would caution the people coming up with this data. They're the same people that are okay paying $10,000 for a hammer. Okay, so I do not believe at face value anything that these jokers are saying. You know, so you try to convince me that laying off a whole bunch of people, it works for corporate America. They save money, but the government is going to actually cost more to have fewer employees. I don't believe that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if that's accurate. I'm just going
I understand.
All right. Well, I want to get to this last subject tonight before we go, folks. Gotta respond to The View. So you guys know, another day, another hot take from The View. But this one's more than just loud. It's dangerous. Take a look. This is clip 7.
For an executive order threatening to pull funding from the Smithsonian unless it stops promoting what he is calling divisive race-centered ideology. He has also put J.D. Vance in charge of purging the museum of anything that degrades shared American values or divides Americans based on race. Is this just an excuse to ignore historical facts about America? It is a fact racism does exist. It is a fact that slavery existed. And every time you try to cover it up, I think of y'all as doing that cat box thing. You can't cover it up. You can't bury it deep enough. There's too many of us. We already know.
To American history. And, you know, while it may be an uncomfortable truth for this president, and for many people in this country was founded on slavery. It was founded on free labor, and it was founded on the backs of Black people. And for anyone who hasn't been to this museum, there are a couple of exhibits that are really, really important. There's Emmett Till's casket is there, because I've been there several times. There's an airplane for the Tuskegee Airmen, and there's an actual slave quarters. That's a fact. That's a fact.
They're all facts.
They're all
None
facts.
of this is made
all
up.
Of it's facts. And so I just think
there's the famous picture of the man who was whipped, the shackles of the slaves coming on the ship.
Okay, so this is a museum we all need to get to. There's, like she said, the Emmett Till's exhibit. There's shackles to see and whips, people getting whipped. All this stuff is very important. And this is the stuff that we've seen over and over. They make history, Black history, about nothing but slavery. Right. And I'm being funny. I'm trying to be funny about that. I mean, and again, I've been to the museum multiple times, but they just love slavery. It's just really weird. I mean, just listening to that montage and hearing them, it's the Emmett Till exhibit, it's the shackles, it's the whips. What, I mean, Shelley, what did you think of that?
First of all, again, these the order or the notice that President Trump put out was called restoring sanity, as he titled it, right? Why does everything or anything circling around DEI or revisionist history? These people always respond with the same answers. It's always going to affect slavery and Black, as if That's all they think of Black people, is that everything about our history and culture has been revised, right? Is anything just stated in truth? Yes, there are museums that have slave exhibits. You can go right down here to the National Blacks in Wax right here in Baltimore, right? Those things are part of history. But to say that those are the kind of things that are going to be removed, I haven't read that. I do know, just for I guess for clarity, transparency, there was the Tuskegee Airmen, some of the portraits or some of the displays were removed from the Pentagon site, and some other, I think Jackie Robinson, they were taken down mistakenly, or at least taken down for a little while they cleaned up the site, and then they were put back. So the site was back up. So again, The View, other people like that, they always go to slavery and Black people as if we are the only ones that these DI and revisionist histories affect. That says a lot to me, that you actually believe that our history has been revised.
Yeah, Nicole, what are your thoughts here?
You know, I am a big free museum buff, mostly because I'm frugal, but there are lots of things to see at the Museum of African American History, not just shackles, not just Emmett Till's casket. In order to get to Emmett Till's casket, you get to go on a locomotive, right? On a train, and it talks about Black people discovering and creating and maintaining steam engines, right? Then they have another display that takes up almost a whole room in the museum, and it takes you from that very young America. Remember, because America's, compared to the rest of the world, we're like a teenager. We're not even really hitting our adulthood yet, right? America was ugly then, but it takes you from that ugly part and it drags your butt all the way to Whoopi Goldberg's trifling ass sitting on The View. So talk to me about how slavery works when you're sitting on TV for millions of dollars, spewing hate and division every single business day of the week, Miss Ma'am. Talk to me about it again. Talk to me about shackles, Anna. When were you in shackles last? Can you name someone in your family, or better yet, Whoopi's family, or better yet, Sonny's family, who was enslaved? The only thing that's enslaved is their minds. And they know politically slavery is a dog whistle for Black Americans. And they're trying to find, again, something that's going to stick against the wall. President Trump is trying to erase American history. What he's saying is America was a young nation. We made our mistakes, but we need to push forward. We're not going to forget our past, but we're definitely going to focus on the future. And if that's too hard for them to comprehend, listen, this winning is not for everybody. Not everybody is going to enjoy America being great. And I think we can pick maybe 5 or 6 people from The View who are not going to enjoy America being great again, but the rest of us shall. Putting back the statues that were torn down for whatever reason. American history cannot be ignored. Whether we like it or not, it is a part of who this nation is. And it doesn't always have to be slavery or civil war. There are a million great things about this nation, and we should focus in on those things. I agree with President Trump.
Tyrone, what are your thoughts on this Smithsonian executive order? Oh, you're muted, Tyrone.
I want to focus on slavery. Let's have a discussion about slavery. Tax Freedom Day this year is June 12th. Now, what Tax Freedom Day is, it's the first day after Americans have worked long enough to make a wage that satisfies their taxes. Okay. So now we are greater than 6 months in. Okay. Well, about 6 months in, about half of the year almost, that most Americans would have had to work in order just to satisfy their taxes. So for almost 6 months of the year, you're a slave. I don't give a damn if you're Black, white, gay, straight, transgender, old, young. Okay. When we see, and it's fine. I'm a big history buff. So yeah, let's definitely not forget any aspect of history. And it is true. I'm going to be absolutely forthright. Yeah. When people talk about, oh, well, slaves built America. Not in the way you think. Go deeper. Slaves built America in terms of acting as actual collateral for a lot of financial transactions. That is true. Okay. Not brick by brick built. Okay, stop listening to Al Sharpton. Built in a more fundamental way as the financial undergirding of the South in particular, but in some cases, aspects of the North as well. So if we really want to talk about slavery, slavery exists up until June 12th in this country. If we talk about what we're able to keep in our pockets, as opposed to what goes to this government. And the United States of America, I always tell people, and this incenses me, the slave trade was a horrible chapter in American history. But I would encourage people to do some research on the Arabian slave trade. Slaves went two directions from West Africa. They went to the Arabias and they came across the Atlantic. There's a reason why you don't find an indigenous Black population in the Arabias. And that tricked some people into believing that they didn't have a slave trade, although it was much more pervasive and lasted a lot longer than the Western slave trade. The reason you don't see indigenous Blacks in those regions is because they were castrated and genitally mutilated so that they were not able to procreate when they went east. Okay, so this thing is a whole lot more complex than the smooth-brained witches on the, and I'm taking a page out of the Etiquette lady's book and I'm replacing the B with a W, witches on The View could ever hope to comprehend.
Yeah, I mean, virtually all countries in human history supported slavery during that time, including, like you mentioned, the African countries shipping Africans to the Americans in chains. It was awful. It was horrible. It was diabolical. No one is, saying that slavery was good or anything like that. Nope. But what I am saying, why are we the only ones with enslaved ancestors that continue to harp on it? This is what I don't understand. You go to the Caribbeans, you go to Africa, you go to these other countries, and you do not hear them constantly, generation after generation, harping on slavery. And they all went through it. Some of them still in it. Yeah. Some countries are still in it, but we do not hear it. And number two, the executive order didn't say anything about getting rid of
exactly.
Smithsonian. It says here, President Trump aims to ensure that the Smithsonian is an institution that sparks children's imagination, celebrates American history and ingenuity, serves as a symbol to the world of American greatness, and makes America proud. The order directs the vice president, like they mentioned, to oversee it, prohibit funding for exhibits or programs that degrade shared American values, divide Americans by race, or promote ideologies inconsistent with federal law. So, that sounds great to me.
That's what I'm saying.
Not dividing us by race, what is the problem?
That's what I say. How is it that order, when I read it, it said nothing about removing whatever Emmett Till's casket, nothing. No. So this is what I mean when many, I'm saying many Black people, many of us like the View types, when they read or hear these things, they immediately go to, they're going to take slavery out of the schools or can't teach Black history, whatever. Nothing of the sort. It basically is saying it's cleaning up these I think the word they use is improper ideologies and all of these teachings that revise history. If you want to teach history, just teach it. The facts, the truth, good, bad, ugly, indifferent, whatever the case may be, just teach it.
That's what makes American history so wonderful. We grew up together. Now, it started off hinky, on both sides. There was a lot of stuff going on, but as we've grown as a nation, we've grown better together. And that should be where all of this, because this is public money. This is not private money that's at the Smithsonian. This is all of our tax dollars. It should be focused on the fact that we are better together, not as individual pockets of things, but better together. And I feel him on that. That's a wonderful sentiment going into our 250th birthday.
Yeah, but they don't want that. Remember when they had at the Smithsonian the exhibit about aspects and assumptions of whiteness, white culture in the United States? And I'm not sure if it's not there anymore, but this was what they had, a whole exhibit on whiteness.
Mm-hmm.
Folks,
that was
this
going to
is
be all
not
time.
about bringing us together. I mean, it's a total opposite, Nicole. They want us divided. They want us divided.
Well, it's doing that, and it's also embedding this subliminal inferiority complex into large swaths of the Black community. I've done this before in the show. I'll do it again. I'm going to recommend a book that I believe everyone, the women on The View, really need to read this book. Maybe they got an audio version for them, but it's called Black Fortunes, and the author is Shamari Wills. It's about 6 slaves who got out of slavery by various different means and went on to become millionaires in the late 1800s. Look, inflation aside, becoming a millionaire today is noteworthy, but these are people that came out of slavery that did it in the late 1800s. And so that puts the lie to all of this, all the white man and this, that, and the other. No. Okay, I'm willing to look at history, sure, and appreciate it. Absolutely. But not to use it as a cudgel to convince me and generations of Black people that we can't succeed.
Exactly. So we will continue to follow this story amongst the others and keep you all updated on it. So again, folks, if you are tired of The View and their lies, hit that like button and subscribe to us today. This is what we do. We continue to react to these lies of the left and mainstream media, and then provide you with data and facts to respond to it. All right, so we will be back on Wednesday, live Wednesday night. Oh, yep, there's our Pop and Politics mugs. You can get them on our website, www.popandpoliticslive.com. You can get those on our website. Again, like I said, we'll be back on Wednesday. Tomorrow, you can catch the All American Talk Show on their YouTube channel, All American Talk. They will be live at 6:30 p.m. Then again, it's Wednesday night with us right here at Pop and Politics at 8 p.m. Then it's Thursday at KJ Christian Conservative. That's me. You'll find me on my channel there on YouTube at KJ Christian Conservative. And then we are back Friday, and then Saturday, Just the Guys Podcast at Just the Guys Podcast will be on Saturday at 6:30 p.m. So you can get all of your conservative content from different perspectives. All right. And then, of course, you have Soldiers of Finance right here on YouTube with Tyrone. All right, folks. So again, thank you guys so much for hanging in with us tonight. Again, until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.